Hello, and welcome to 12-Minute Meditation, a weekly podcast from Mindful that offers mindfulness meditations backed by neuroscience. Research shows that just 12 minutes of meditation a day can yield benefits like increased attention, focus, creativity, calm, resilience, and compassion. So on this podcast, we invite you to explore 12-minute guided meditations from today's leading mindfulness experts. I'm Siri Myram, editor at Mindful. As today's teacher, Jessica Morey, says, anger's fundamental role is to protect us and protect what we care about in the world. It lets us know when a limit of ours or a boundary has been crossed. But because of its power and volatility, anger can be a troubling emotion to be with and a difficult one to work with. Today's practice is aimed at gaining insight into our anger so that we can respond skillfully in any given situation. Jessica Morey is a meditation teacher and coach. She has been practicing meditation for almost 3 decades. She is also the co-founder and former executive director of Inward Bound Mindfulness Education, a nonprofit organization bringing in-depth mindfulness and compassion training to youth. Ready to practice? Here's Jessica Morey.
Welcome. So to begin, let's explore what exactly is an emotion. This is actually a really rich conversation, and there's even some very heated debate today around what an emotion is. So if you're interested in this topic, which I really am, I find it fascinating, I encourage you to explore the work of 2 psychologists, Paul Ekman and Lisa Feldman Barrett, who wrote a recent book called How Emotions Are Made. And so if you read these 2 authors, you'll get a good overview of the 2 different sides of this discussion. In the meantime, I'm going to share my understanding of emotions. I experience them as a combination of thoughts in my mind and physical sensations, kind of energetic sensations in my body, and then the interaction between those 2. The mental process and the physical process. We can see directly in our meditation practice from our moment-to-moment experience that it's made up of both mental content, like visual and auditory thoughts, and then physical sensations. So the physical sensations are both sensations of our sense doors, so seeing and hearing and tasting and smelling, but also all of the physical sensations in our bodies. And those physical sensations in our bodies, I tend to divide them into 2 categories. And I do just want to say this is certainly simplifying things. It's not, there's a lot more nuance within this, but simplifying the physical sensations, you can experience sensations that I would call maybe physiological, that are related to digestion and breathing, temperature, the feeling of your body and the weight of gravity. That's one category. It's all the very physiological sensations that we feel in each moment. And then there's another whole set of physical sensations that are happening pretty much all the time that aren't necessarily related to digestion or breathing or the blood flowing in our body. And I think of those as these emotional sensations, the kind of felt sense in our body. So these are the sensations that we talk about, like having butterflies in our stomach when we're nervous, or the feeling of like listening to a heartwarming story, actually physically feeling this warmth in our chest. So these emotions are really like energy moving in our body, and they call us to certain kinds of actions. They help us connect with other people. They give us insight and information into our lives and to what we value, what we want in the world. So I find in my daily life, in my meditation practice, that I tend to emphasize attending to the physical sensations related to emotions rather than the thinking. And I say that because thoughts are just so quick. They happen so quickly, and it's really easy for us to just get caught and swept away in a story, to forget that thinking is happening and just be caught inside of it. So physical sensations are a little bit more gross in the sense of not subtle. So we can actually bring our attention to physical sensations, and they don't move quite as quickly. So we can notice how they shift and change, and it can be kind of grounding to feel the physical, emotional sensations in our bodies. So I tend to do that at least as a starting point in my daily life and in my meditation. And we'll do that together. And as we explore these emotions together, I really encourage us to develop an attitude of acceptance and respect and care for our emotions, a kind of honoring of our emotional world. And I say that because our emotions can offer us so much information about our lives, about what we value, about what we want, and also because emotions play a really vital role in our relationships. They are the foundation of our connection and communication with others. And in fact, some social scientists and other kinds of scientists really believe that the role of emotion is about social interaction and connection. So without emotion, there's so much that we'd be missing in our lives. So they're amazing. And they deserve and are worthy of attention, respect, and care. So together we're going to practice skillfully connecting with and being curious about our emotions. And what we're really going to practice is this sort of middle way. And sometimes it can feel a little bit like a knife edge. The middle way of not acting out on the emotions, but also not suppressing them. So can we just connect with the emotion, hold it, be curious about it, without having to act it out, without having to suppress it or deny or ignore it. So I also really want to emphasize that finding this middle way doesn't mean that we're indifferent or passive about our emotions. It just means that we take the time to actually be with the emotion long enough to figure out what the skillful response is rather than the reaction. So oftentimes we still want to take action based on an emotion. That's what they're often telling us, something that we need to act on. But we can act out of a place of connection and care rather than a kind of reactivity of wanting to get rid of the feeling. So that's what we'll explore in this meditation. So today we're going to work on anger together, or explore anger together. We'll think about a situation where you might have been angry recently, or if you're lucky enough, maybe you feel angry right now, which would be great. But first, just to talk a little bit about anger, I really want to emphasize that, like every emotion, anger is totally natural. And actually, it's really a life-affirming emotion. So just want to repeat that anger is a life-affirming emotion. Its fundamental role is to protect us and to protect what we care about in the world. It lets us know when a limit of ours or a boundary has been crossed. It lets us know when our needs are not being met, or when someone we care about is in danger. So it both lets us know that that's happening, and it's an energizing emotion. You probably noticed that anger is this kind of energizing emotion. So it gives us the energy to respond to threat. So whatever that threat is that's coming at us, that's making us feel angry, or that is arousing anger in us, we now have the energy to respond to it. So, it's about protecting life. Yet at the same time, we know that when anger is misdirected or when we act it out compulsively, it can be a really destructive force, both for our own physical health, our relationships, and certainly in some instances in the wider world. And we can see that often. So we want to learn how to actually respect, honor, care for, and be with our anger, and see what the skillful response is that's needed, rather than the reactive response that might cause more harm. So what we are going to do, the first step is just to recognize and respect it. This is what's happening. It's part of the human experience. And it's trying to take care of us in some way, even if that's kind of maladaptive for the situation. And so we'll learn how to be with the anger, see what's really there, and then see how we want to respond. So let's try this together. If you are ready, you can come into just a comfortable seated position. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and take a few deeper breaths. And just allow yourself to feel the points of contact with the chair beneath you. Maybe your feet on the ground or the cushion. And just feeling that, feeling the sense of grounding. Taking a few more longer inhales and exhales just to settle. And then we'll begin by bringing to mind a situation, a somewhat recent situation that when you felt angry about. And as you do this, as we'll do with all of these difficult emotion practices, if you think about sort of the angriest you've ever been as a level 10, we're going to look for a situation that's a 3, maybe a 4. So maybe it's the level of irritation or annoyance. So not the last time that you were enraged, but more the last time that you felt irritated, annoyed, or frustrated about maybe it's something someone did, something someone said. So bringing to mind that situation. See if you can really get an image of it. Remember the words that were spoken. And what you thought, that your kind of thought process was related to the experience. And so hopefully at this point you're feeling that sensation in your body. So, you can get it going. What was the story that you had too? Like what this person did or shouldn't have done, or how you were wronged, or how it should have been different. Whatever it is, let that go a little bit. Let the story go. Let it run. Until you start to feel, and connecting with your body, you feel a felt sense of that irritation or annoyance. So once you feel the irritation, once you get a felt sense of that from the story, from the memory, the first step we're going to do is actually just cut off the thoughts, cut off the storyline. So this is really important in almost every difficult emotion. Step 1, really firmly direct your attention away from the story. Cut off the thinking. We're going to bring our attention into our bodies. So feeling your body, noticing where and how you notice anger. Where do you feel this in your body? So you might feel it in your chest, your hands. So just see that, get a sense of it. And so we know, we know that where we feel it, and then we're actually going to turn away from that felt sense of anger and just feeling what else is happening in your body. So finding something that feels neutral, maybe even pleasant, spacious in your body. So you might feel your feet, contact with the chair, maybe the hands touching. So this is just creating some space around the anger. Use the tip of your nose, the breath. And if you can't find any sensations in your body that feel kind of safe or free from anger or neutral, then you can take a moment to listen to the sounds around you. So maybe making even more space in your awareness to the whole room, sounds that are far away. And resting your attention with these sensations for a few minutes, allowing yourself to find some ease and maybe a little bit of calm. And if your mind wanders back to the story, the thoughts about what's making you angry, just gently but firmly redirect your attention to the neutral sounds and neutral sensations. And just taking a few breaths here. And then once you feel a little bit more calm, we can explore the anger more directly. So coming back to where you feel anger in your body. So do you feel tightness in your throat? Any sensations in your shoulders, your arms? Anything in your belly? So if you find a place, then really exploring the sensation. So is there a temperature to this felt sense of anger? Is it hot or cold? Is it throbbing? What are the edges like? Is it shifting and changing? And as you just hold and stay with the felt sense of irritation, frustration, anger, the direct felt sensations that are hot, cold, vibrating, sharp. Holding it with a lot of care and curiosity. Notice what other emotions might be present. Is there anything else kind of inside of or beneath the anger? Any other emotions there? Fear, sadness, wanting. So just notice what else is there. Is there anything that the anger might be almost masking? Just be curious. Letting this be very somatic, so we're not thinking about it, we're not trying to understand it cognitively, we're just letting the emotion reveal itself in a very direct, somatic way. And then also notice if any information comes up from this anger. So you could even drop in a question, like what does this anger need? What does it need? What does it want you to know? What is it trying to tell you? What do you need, anger? What do you want me to know? And again, we're just dropping the question into the felt sense in our bodies. And then seeing what arises. Are there flashes, images, words that could help you understand what's needed, what action you need to take? So just taking another moment, holding and being with the felt sensation of the anger, irritation, being curious about what it wants you to know, what's needed. And as we bring this practice to a close, just seeing if you have any insights, any inclinations of what you could do to skillfully respond to this irritation or anger? What would truly take care of the anger or frustration? And actually, in a kind of root and grounded way, address what's needed. And so as you finish, you can make a commitment to take whatever skillful action is needed. So that might be something personal, like some kind of self-care, walk, a nap, meal. Or it might be committing to have a direct and difficult conversation with someone, for asking for what you need, setting a limit. Just seeing if you can commit to this anger and to yourself that you'll take one action, one skillful action to address this. And then as you're ready, you can open your eyes if they've been closed and take a deep breath. Look around the room and orient yourself to your space wherever you are. Maybe the screen in front of you. And so as you go through your week, this week off the cushion, you can continue to practice these skills in your daily life. So if you notice that you're feeling angry or frustrated at any point this week, the first thing you can do is just notice, anger, I'm irritated. And the second thing that can be really helpful is just to find the ground. So feel your feet on the ground, feel your back body, just notice what's not angry right now. Get some space around the anger. Maybe open your awareness wide to the sounds and the space around you. So this can take just 5 seconds to feel the feet, open your awareness. And then when you feel some space and calmness around the anger, you can kind of just direct your attention there and ask that question, what is needed? What is needed right now? And then proceed from that place.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of 12-Minute Meditation from Mindful. I hope you enjoyed practicing with us today. Sign up for our free newsletter at mindful.org/signup, and if you'd like to explore additional related content and meditations, check the show notes for links.